Welcome back to The Explainer. So, when you hear the word strike, you're probably picturing, loud picket lines, complete with megaphones, chanting, and signs outside a locked building. But what if I told you some of the most paralyzing strikes happen in dead silence? And they happen right at the office desk or directly on the factory floor with everyone fully clocked in for their shift.
Here is our roadmap for today. We're going to explore the art of inaction. Look at pen-down strikes in the service sector, tool-down strikes in manufacturing, compare the two, dive into the modern strike evolution, and finally, look at the path to resolution. Let's get right into it.
All right, Section 1, the art of inaction. Let's define what this modern strike actually looks like.
At its core, a strike is just a temporary, collective pause in work to negotiate better wages, conditions, or job security, right? But with the unique protests we're looking at today, there's a massive twist. The employees actually show up. They commute, they clock in, they sit right at their stations, but the work itself simply stops.
Moving on to Section 2, let's look at the pen-down strike, which is where the service sector literally halts. So what exactly is a pen-down strike? Well, imagine government staff, bankers, insurance agents, or teachers reporting to work right on time. They're physically sitting there, maybe drinking their morning coffee, but they absolutely refuse to touch a pen, process a single file, or hit a key on their keyboards. The administrative heartbeat of the office just flatlines.
And you can imagine the domino effect here is huge. Step 1, the staff show up. Step 2, no files move, and 0 approvals get signed. Which leads to Step 3, massive administrative delays for the public. We actually saw this in the 2024 and 2025 state government protests. Employees used this exact tactic to demand the restoration of pension schemes and higher cost of living adjustments. The offices were literally packed with people, but the bureaucracy was entirely frozen.
All right, shifting gears to Section 3, tool-down strikes. This is when manufacturing completely stops.
Now, flip the script to the blue-collar world. We call this a tool-down strike. In this scenario, workers in automobile plants, mining operations, or steel factories walk through the gates just like normal, but they deliberately refuse to operate their machines or pick up a single tool. Try to picture that, a massive, usually deafening steel factory just completely silent because the workers have simply crossed their arms.
And just like the office, the fallout is immediate. Workers are present, but the tools are idle, meaning production drops to 0. That causes a massive hit to output and revenue. Take the 2024 auto component strikes, for example. Modern automakers rely heavily on just-in-time production, meaning parts arrive the exact minute they're needed. So even a quiet 1-hour tool-down stoppage, it triggers absolute chaos down the entire supply chain.
Okay, Section 4. Let's do a quick side-by-side analysis to really compare these two strikes.
As you can see here, while the core strategy is identical, the execution totally shifts based on the setting. In a white-collar office, the instrument is a keyboard or a file, right? And the impact is a bureaucratic traffic jam. In a blue-collar factory, that instrument is heavy machinery, and the impact is a direct loss of physical goods. It's literally the exact same playbook, just deployed on two totally different battlegrounds.
Which brings us to Section 5, the modern strike evolution. We are moving from factories straight to apps. Because let's face it, our economy isn't just filing cabinets and assembly lines anymore. In banking, we see this constant push and pull with periodic strike threats. In manufacturing, these tool-down tactics are actually threatening national production-linked incentive goals, like semiconductor manufacturing. But honestly, the most fascinating evolution is happening in the gig economy. App-based delivery drivers don't have assembly lines. Instead, they do a digital log-off strike. They all simultaneously turn their apps offline to demand better incentives. It's the ultimate modern equivalent of putting down a pen.
Finally, Section 6, the path to resolution. Let's look at legal frameworks and industrial harmony.
So because these silent strikes can really cripple an economy, they are heavily regulated. The Industrial Relations Code of 2020 acts as a strict rulebook here. It demands advance notices and lays out mandatory procedures. The whole point of this legal safety net is to force negotiations and dispute resolution to happen well before any pens or tools are actually dropped.
The ideal path is pretty straightforward. You have ignored employee grievances, which then trigger a disruptive pen down or tool down event, and that forces the real goal, collective bargaining.
This is where employees and management finally sit across the table, negotiate as equals, and hopefully find a fair settlement to clear up the conflict.
Of course, modern organizations really want to avoid that disruption altogether. They do this proactively through things like grievance redressal mechanisms and works committees, which are essentially just joint problem-solving teams. It's a super delicate balancing act. You have to fiercely protect a worker's legitimate right to be heard, while at the exact same time maintaining the efficiency that keeps the business alive.
Former Indian president and labor leader V.V. Giri actually hit the nail on the head when he said, "Industrial peace is the foundation of industrial progress." It's a really stark reminder. External economic growth is absolutely impossible if the people inside the building have put their pens and tools down.
So, as our economy becomes faster and more integrated than ever, I want to leave you with this ultimate question to ponder. How do we best balance the undeniable rights of workers to protest with our modern world's demand for uninterrupted progress? Think about that the next time your delivery app suddenly goes dark. Thank you so much for joining this explainer, and we will catch you next time.